Hello, I am Metis, and today 3 of my friends and I tried to survive 100 days in Minecraft Hardcore. This is a video idea that's been getting a lot of traction thanks to Luke the Notable. We decided to throw our own twist on it, and instead of just 1 person, 2 people, or even 3, we're doing a 4-person hardcore survival. In this video there is Toxemicberry, Magrezi, and of course, Karme. With all of that cleared up, we had 3 main goals for this 100 days. Kill the Ender Dragon, acquire full netherite armor, and not die. The last one proved to be a little bit of a problem. Ooh! Ooh! Side note, I also have a texture pack in this 100 days that outlines ores so I can see them better, but most importantly you, the viewers, can see them. Also, if you could subscribe, that would help me out so much. Anyway, let the 100 days begin. Day 0, we looked around our new home and began immediately chopping trees because we knew we needed 3 things before nightfall: food, shelter, and tools. Nearby our spawn location there was a village. We decided our lives were worth more than the villagers and pillaged them for all their hay bales. With the wood I had gathered, I decided to make myself a pickaxe, but before I did this I annoyed Karme a little bit. I quickly upgraded my tools from wood to stone. While the others were looting the village, I decided to set out to try and find a nice place for shelter to be built. Along the way I killed some of the local livestock. I found a very nice place to build and set down a crafting table and a furnace. I then leaked my coordinates so Karme, Magrezi and Toxemicberry could find my location. While they were on their way, I decided to make a safety bunker for tonight so we would not die. They found me and helped me with the underground bunker. Toxemicberry had found a pet baby chicken and he brought it downstairs. Don't know where that one went. We didn't have enough beds to sleep, so we just mined until the sun came up. We climbed out of the bunker to a bright sunrise, but decided to go straight back to hard labour. We mined for about a quarter of the day, then I went to go get some wood so that we could spruce up the place. It was at this point that we decided that this bunker would now have the use as a chest room. Magrezi started making a mine so that we could eventually get some diamonds. He got himself into a little bit of trouble when he encountered a mine shaft. Spiders were jumping at him left, right and centre, so I came to his rescue and was able to break the spawner. After killing some of the spiders, I decided to help him with the mine, but 10 seconds after I did, Karme came down and fell into the mine shaft through a hole. This was the closest we had ever been to death in this world, and it was terrifying. A rescue mission ensued. We fought very hard and won. We were safe again. I had had enough for mining for one day, and I continued to create our chest room. Day 2 came around and we were safe for now, but we were severely lacking in armor and tools. Magrezi down in the mines was able to find the first diamonds the world had ever seen. But I spent most of the day developing the chest room. It looked very rustic and very cool by the end, but there was still a lot to add and a lot to clear out for now. While editing this, I forgot to say that Toxemicberry got diamond boots. Day 3 was a day of hard working. Walls were built, a gravestone for Toxemicberry's fallen pet was placed, and most of all, the chest room really started to take some shape. The chest room now had support beams. These made the room look a lot less bland. Day 4 was a day of continued construction. I got some wood and continued on the chest room. All day. I had no help, so this took a while. Day 5 was spent putting in the walls, the floors, and about half of the ceiling to the chest room. It was day 6 that I noticed above the chest room there was a house, or should I say, the homeless shelter. I finished the room and went to sleep knowing that I had completed the chest room. Day 7. This is where things get interesting. I had finished the chest room at last and began doing the next thing on my to-do list, which was get diamonds. Magrezi was already in the mines, so with my stone pickaxe, I headed down there. I spent the next 7 days down in the mines. I had found diamonds after diamonds after diamonds while down in the mines. I had acquired a total of 24, which I made into a pickaxe, an axe, a sword, a shovel, a chestplate, and some boots. I felt safe with my new diamond armor. While I was in the mines, Toxemicberry was up at the base, stealing and hiding all the diamonds he could get his hands on. So I decided to fix this by making a secret base where I would keep my valuables and housemaking materials. By the end of day 15, the bunker was finished. Days 16 to 21, I was back mining because I was focused on getting full diamond armor for myself and for Toxemicberry because he was too scared to come down and mine with us. I found many diamonds and completed my armor set. At this point, Magrezi had full diamond and I had full diamond. Karme only needed a helmet and Toxemic Berry only needed everything but the boots. Many diamonds were found. Because there was 3 of us looking, we made light work of it. Day 21 and 22 was very productive. I gathered some obsidian, which we used to make a nether portal. We jumped through. The nether was very dangerous, so we had to safety proof it by any means necessary. Although almost risking our lives, we did it. We came back into the overworld and decided to go out for an adventure because we wanted to build houses somewhere else. After some travelling, we spotted a jungle, one of the most rare biomes in Minecraft. Since it was night, we didn't explore it, but I did save the coordinates for us to come back at a later date. Our travels continued across the ocean until we spotted land. We split up on foot in search of a plains biome, and I found one. I waited for them to find me. Since Carme was closer to me, he found me first, and while we were waiting for Megrezi, we had a snowball fight in the near tundra biome. Megrezi finally found us, and to get back to the homeless shelter, we created a second nether portal of the world. This would act as a nether highway, a fast form of travel since 1 block in the nether is 8 blocks in the overworld. On day 23, we went through the second nether portal and began safety proofing it. Cobblestone is great for the nether, since gassed fireballs cannot blow up cobblestone. We mined some quartz for XP and then began tunneling to the other nether portal at the homeless shelter. This was incredibly dangerous. We almost died numerous times. We bridged over 100-block falls to lava. We dug through a minefield of lava underground. And the scariest part? Making a stairway. Although this looked like the least of our troubles, for me, this was the most scary, because 1 misclick or 1 misjump and it was all over. But I succeeded. Carme and Megrezi continued to dig underground while I safety-proofed the stairway. By nightfall on day 24, we saw our other nether portal, and so much pressure was lifted off my shoulders as I saw the world forming in the chest room. Day 25, Carme and I went full safety mode. We replaced the whole floor of our nether highway with cobblestone. I replaced some walls too. This took all day. Day 26, I was still in the nether, but instead of replacing the floor, I was placing down rails for minecarts to go on, for even faster travel. I had a lot of help from Carme for this, because it was a huge, but needed job. The nether highway was finished. While Carme and I were away from the homeless shelter, a lot had happened. Toxemic Berry had built a biome thing inside the wall. I'm not sure how to explain it, but you'll see in the video. And Megrezi was making a raid farm. This would be incredibly important because we needed totems of undying if we wanted to last 100 days. Megrezi needed some glass, so I went to the nearby river and got him a stack of sand. Night had sprung upon us and we all went to sleep in what felt like years. Day 28, I had 1 mission. To get a level 30 enchantment table. I woke up and fed the cows that Toxemic Berry had been feeding while Megrezi, Carme and I were in the nether. There was so many of them by now. I gathered all the sugarcane that had been planted by Toxemic Berry. With this sugarcane, I crafted some paper and used the leather that I had to make books. I was able to make 10 bookshelves already. But sadly, this was not enough to make a level 30 enchantment table. Today I also lured an unsuspecting chicken into Toxemic Berry's underground overworld base. I was able to get the last pieces of leather that I needed and made the rest of the bookshelves, but I had completely forgotten about the enchantment table. All we needed was obsidian to make it, so it wasn't that bad, so I went down to the mines and got some obsidian, but the caves were guarded by a creeper. He was no match for me and my armour. I gathered the obsidian and created the enchantment table. Day 29, I told the others about the enchantment table and we all began enchanting our armour and tools. I found a protection 4 enchantment and immediately grabbed some lapis and enchanted it. Along with protection 4, I also got depth strider 3, which makes my movement a lot faster in water. I also got unbreaking 3. Then I enchanted my sword and I got sharpness 4 and knockback 2. My luck was insane, so I enchanted my helmet and I got protection 4, unbreaking 3 and respiration 3. I got an efficiency 4 pickaxe and my leggings were next. I got protection 4 and unbreaking 3. I had run out of experience, so I went to the nether to mine some quartz and I randomly got hot tourist destinations. A very hard achievement. Carme and I just mined quartz until we hit level 36. With my 36 levels on day 30, I was back to enchanting. I got efficiency 4, silk touch and unbreaking 3 on a shovel. I got efficiency 4, unbreaking 3 on a pickaxe. I enchanted my chestplate, got thorns 2, unbreaking 3, and I was ungrateful, so I got rid of the enchantments. I had 2 pickaxes on me, so I decided to combine them together to make an efficiency 5 unbreaking 3 pickaxe. This was insane. I named my pickaxe the Metis Masher. Days 31 to 34 I spent in the Nether. I was looking for a fortress, but to no avail. Along the way I did pick up some levels and I did encounter a bastion, which I did not go in. Day 35 I came home from the Nether. I enchanted a bow with power 4, punch 2 and unbreaking 3. And I finally enchanted my chestplate with protection 4, unbreaking 3 and thorns 2. I had full protection 4 armor. This was huge for the game, and now I was basically safe. Well, the safest I've ever been. For the rest of the day, Toxemicberry, Magrezi and Carmi and I all transported the villagers from the village to a shack we were going to make for them. This would be called the breeding shack. It took a long time to transport the villagers because we were in boats on land. And we had to go uphill, so instead of luring the villagers uphill, we began tunneling right through the hill. Night had fallen and we retreated to the homeless shelter to go to bed. Day 36, we went right back out there, just praying for them not to be zombified. We continued digging right through the hill until we found the place where we wanted the breeding shack to be. Carmi and Magrezi teamed up to begin construction on the breeding shack, while I and Toxemicberry began to go make nectarine so we could get enchanted books from librarians. I fixed up the breeding shack on day 37. I added a way in and a way out that the villagers could not get through. This consisted of 3 trapdoors. We would go down into the crawling position and swim out. I placed down some lecterns and began trying to get the mending book, or any other book that was worth anything. I eventually got on Breaking 3 book, and Carmi and I spent the whole of the rest of the day trying to get him in a special hole so that we would know that he was Joe the Unbreaking Man. We finally got him in, and as victors we slept in our villagers' new beds. I went right back to the village on day 38. I was trying to find another villager that we could breed to make more villagers. I brought him home and found out that Magrezi had got a Silk Touch villager and he had put him in a hole in the wall. This was very good. I spent the whole rest of the day trying to get a farmer profession on this new villager, but it didn't work. We went into hell on day 39 to try and find some nether resources such as nether quartz and gold ore for Toxemicberry. I wasn't too sure what we needed this for, but I'm sure we'd find out. Me and Toxemicberry went home thinking we were safe until Carmi came screaming through the Discord about him almost dying. I rushed back to save him, and I did. I gave him some food and we went home. I did some general maintenance such as harvesting crops and sugarcane, and then I realised that Magrezi was nowhere to be found. He had been in the Nether the whole time looking for ancient debris, a very powerful metal used in the crafting of netherite tools and armour. He called us in, and to our surprise he had found some. I broke some and ran back through the portal. I also made a fletching villager. Sadly, the file for day 40 corrupted. Basically what happened on day 40 is I got loads of sticks and I got loads of emeralds. I breeded villagers, I unenchanted a sword, and I bought a Silk Touch book. I also enchanted a pickaxe with efficiency 4 and unbreaking 3. I bought 2 Fortune 2 books and combined them together on day 41. With my new Fortune 3 book, I put it on my pickaxe that I had enchanted the day before. I called it Fortuna after the goddess of fortune. For the rest of day 41 and all of day 42, I was in the mine searching for diamonds. I used my Silk Touch pickaxe to have everything in ore form and came up to the homeless shelter and fell asleep on our balcony. I used all the ore I had gathered to build a huge tower in a nearby river. The view was great from up top. I came down by mining all the blocks with my Fortuna pickaxe and ended up with a solid 16 levels. I gained some extra levels by mining diamonds. I gave one of my diamond ore to Toxemicberry because he asked for it. Still not sure what he was up to. I did some business by trading tree branches for emeralds and went mining for ancient debris. I used my Silk Touch pickaxe and quartz so I would get the levels when I came out the Nether. After quite some searching, I found it. Ancient debris. It was only a 1 vein, but it was mine. I was so happy. Okay, well, maybe not too happy. Please don't be a single piece.
It probably is. It's normally single pieces.
Yeah, a lot of them are single pieces.
Dang it,
That's how it normally is.
I mined for the rest of the day and then this popped up. Cover me in debris. Magrezi had been in the mines this whole time, sweating and getting ancient debris. This made me more determined to get my own set of netherite armour. I continued mining for the rest of the day and came out with 6 ancient debris, a pretty solid total. I smelted them and with some gold I made my first piece of netherite. I used it on my pickaxe and Metis smasher and made it netherite. I built up another tower just like the last one, but this one was out of quartz. I mined down and got many levels. Carme got lost in the netherite mine, so I came to the rescue. He was walking right past the exit for about 10 minutes. We both came back through the portal and we were met by a full netherite man. I stood in awe for a bit and then decided to try and look for another fortress. I set off one way, Carme set off in another, and Magrezi set off in a third way. This way we would cover more ground. Toxic McBerry was still back at the base doing his top secret project. I explored for a bit collecting quartz ore, and as I was, I saw a lonely piglin. I traded with him to see if I could get any ender pearls or fire resistance potions. Out of 54 gold, I only got 2 3-minute fire resistance potions and only 4 ender pearls. I met up with Carmi on day 45 and we went exploring together because it was safer with 2 of us rather than 1. We stopped off to kill some endermen for ender pearls. We found another bastion and this one was very easily lootable, but we turned away and continued our exploration. After about an hour of searching, we finally found it. A fortress. We spent the rest of the day trying to make a safety tunnel all the way over to it. Day 48 to 50 was spent digging underneath the lava lake almost 2,000 blocks back to the homeless shelter nether portal. This was so dangerous. Lava was falling from everywhere. We even had to use our fire protection potions. Day 50, we made it back into the overworld safe and sound, and there was a direct tunnel right to the fortress. We were halfway into the 100 days, and for this milestone, Toxic McBerry let us see what his secret project was. A weird underground all dimensions glass chamber thing. I'm not really sure what to call it, but nevertheless, I loved it. I also loved Round Kid, a pig man who I named.
The name.
Just go Zombie Fat Dude.
Okay.
Call him little Round Kid. Call him Round Kid, yeah, call him Round Kid. Magrezi was able to get a mending villager, so I got to business and gathered all the sugarcane, all the sticks, and I started getting emeralds. I bought 2 mending books and I used both of them on my pickaxes, Fortuna and the Metis smasher. Day 51, I needed my pickaxes healed, so I used all the nether quartz I had gathered to make a huge tower, just like the last one, but this one reached build height. My pickaxes healed and I came to help Carme get a villager into where he was supposed to be, so the raid farm worked. He was a stubborn little fella, but we got him into his new home. I spent the rest of the day preparing for the raid that we agreed would start at nightfall. It was night and we all rushed to our positions as the red boss bar filled up. We were scared because this could be the end. The first wave spawned inside of our walls. This was bad. Carme and I had to bow them from the watchtower. Magrezi was in the farm and Toxic McBerry was at the toilet. To be honest, waves 1 and 2 were a piece of cake. Then came wave 3. We quickly realised that the witches were released on wave 3 on hard mode, and they were using fire resistance potions to stop taking any damage from the magma blocks. This meant we had to manually kill them, so we went up close, and then I got poisoned. I quickly finished off the witch and ran back up to the watchtower. I thought I would take more damage, but I only ended up losing 1.5 hearts. At this point, we were so confident as long as no Vex spawned. Wave 4, 5, 6, and 7 down with ease. This raid farm meant business, and we would definitely be using this again. The raid had lasted a little longer than we had expected, and it was already halfway through day 52 by the time we had split up all the totems of Undying. These are totems. If you're holding it and go below 10 hearts, it uses up and you get another life. These are overpowered. Sadly, we only had 3 totems, and because I knew I had the best armor, I gave up my totem so that Toxic Berry could have one. I had the hero of the village, so for the rest of the day, I made money. Day 53, Carme and I had travelled far and wide to try and find horses. We had gained 2 saddles from the raid and I wanted a new friend. I stumbled across a new village and guess what? It had horses! I chose my new friend and we rode off into the sunset. Day 53, I made lots of profits today. Yep, lots of profits. Later on in the day, I went down to the netherite mine because I wanted to get some netherite armor because I knew that we would be going to the fortress very soon. Day 55. We decided today would be the day that we went to the fortress. This wasn't as dangerous as the raid, but it was still incredibly scary. We began making the long trek along the underground pathway we had made 5 days before. Once we got there, Magrezi was in first, closely followed by me, and then Carme, and then Toxic McBerry. We killed blazes all day, And then I ended up with a lot of blaze rods. In fact, I got 15 rods on my own. We all explored the rest of the fortress, but I gathered some nether wart, and then we all ran out of food, so we retreated back to the homeless shelter. On day 56, I planted all the nether wart I had gathered from the fortress. And then I went back to the nether to get some netherite. I searched for the rest of the day and found 2 ancient debris. I also got a bunch of nether quartz. Day 57 came around and I used all my nether quartz to build a huge tower in the middle of the river. I mined down with my silk touch pickaxe in my offhand so I could heal it because it was almost broken after being down in the netherite mine. We found a group of pillagers and started a raid. I desperately needed a totem. The raid lasted all through the night and early into the morning of day 58. This really wasn't too hard to raid because we had very good armor and very good weapons by now. The witches were still quite annoying since they had fire resistant potions, but we came out victorious. In the morning of day 59, I did some general maintenance like sugarcane farming, and then we ran out of levels, especially Toxemic Berry, who had basically no enchantments on his armor. So naturally, we went into the nether to mine some untouched quartz. I also crafted the Eye of Enders used to find and open the portal at the end. This was the end chest. Each of us would take a line when we were trying to defeat the Ender Dragon. Potions in Minecraft are so overpowered. They could basically stop you from dying from pretty much everything but the void. We were doing it. The main goal of this 100 days, defeating the Ender Dragon. We were all terrified. We took our line of potions and then I threw the first eye. We followed the eyes for 2 days, through many biomes, plains, taiga, oak, and birch forest. We traversed over mountains, through rivers, until the morning of day 62, where we were right above it. We hastily dug down, all very excited that what we had been waiting for 20.6 hours was just minutes away. We all split up, killing mob after mob after mob. It took only a few minutes, but I found it! The portal room! I told everyone else and they rushed to the room. I gave each person 1 eye and we placed them. Also, you might be wondering, what are the eggs in my inventory for? Well, you see, when we were filming this video, it was on Easter, so we thought it would be fitting to each throw an egg at the dragon. Anyway, back to day 62. I walked into the portal first, pretty anticlimactic. Once I was in the end, I notified everyone that it was safe and began digging up to the surface. We all began shooting the towers with our bows. I took out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Half of the towers! We began killing it because all of the towers had been broken. I threw my eggs and they all missed. But it's fine because he died anyway. I got another 24 levels on top of my 28 and that put me at 52. I smacked the eggs with my pickaxe and it fell into the portal. Magrezi was very, very angry. It was a long day and Toxemic Berry thought it was over. He had jumped through the portal and gone home. We continued our adventure on day 63 and we all jumped through the new portal that had opened up, except from Toxemic Berry. We couldn't see any end cities, which is what we were looking for, so we decided to bridge and bridge and bridge. Although if we fell it would be certain death, we kept powering on because of the end goal, an elytra. After basically 2 long days of bridging, we finally found it, an end city. This would give us an elytra, but it was guarded by shulkers, an odd mob which transforms in and out of a block and shoots projectiles that give the player levitation. They are very annoying, but they have a very good drop, shulker shells. These are little shells and if you combine 2 of them with a chest, it gives you a shulker box. But we were only here for the elytra. We were still in the city at the end of the game on day 65 getting an elytra, and we did. I flew off the ship and began heading home. It was a long and precarious trip home, but we all made it. With all my levels, let's just say I did a lot of enchanting. One of these enchantments was my favourite enchantment, Feather Falling 4. I also enchanted the elytra, which we had gotten and everyone said I could keep it. I put mending and unbreaking on it. I called it wings. I tried out my wings for the first time and decided to go back to the end to try and find some more elytras. I spent 2 to 3 days in the end and I only found 1 end city and it didn't even have a ship, so no elytra. I ran out of rockets so I had to come home and then I gave Toxemic Berry some Frostwalker boots that I enchanted the day before. Day 68 was a day of building. I spent ages trying to get ice so that we could have an ice boat track to each of our houses. I was still building on the ice track on day 69. I was digging through hills, over caves, and I was making barriers so he wouldn't fall out of the track. Progressi encountered some pillagers on day 70 and triggered a raid. This one wasn't too hard. Okay, maybe it was a little bit tricky. Other than that, the raid went completely smoothly. The raid lasted into the night, but we did it. After the raid, I was able to get a music disc stall. We went inside and we all listened to it. I went back over through the Nether highway to where I wanted to build my house. For this, I would need some flat ground, so I began terraforming. It took 4 days of breaking and placing hundreds of dirt blocks, but I did it. I had flat ground. I went to go have a look at everybody else's builds on day 75, and they were coming along quite nicely. Karme had a big stone wall thing, Megrezi had a half-built staircase, and Toxemic Berry had a pile of glass. I started building on my own house on day 75, and built for 3 days. In these days, I didn't do too much other than building. Building continued on day 80, but I did stretch my legs, or should I say wings, and I went out flying. I also picked up Bad Omen, and this means we could trigger another raid if we wanted to. Days 81 and 82, I continued building. I went back to the base on 83 to get some things from the chest, and I had totally forgotten I had Bad Omen. A raid spawned in. Luckily, Megrezi was coming with me to the base, so he was right there. The others came a little bit after, and the raid was incredibly hard, due to the fact that none of us had food. I went as low as 3 hearts numerous times. The Vexes were so strong. You should definitely look out for those in your hardcore worlds. The food problem got so bad I had to get up onto a tree and eat rotten flesh. Luckily, the others were able to take out the rest of the raid, and we won. The raid had just finished on the morning of day 84, so I decided to get what I came for and get out of there. I went back to the homeless shelter because I needed some wool for the build. I was going to build a market stall. Toxemic Berry had made a sheep hole and allowed me to dye them and shear them for the wool. I wanted orange, blue and white. For some reason, this took me a very long time and I was here all day. On the morning of day 86, I was travelling back to the castle. I began working on my market stall immediately. They looked very good if I do say so myself. Today I also started work on one of the 4 huge turrets for this build. This took a long time. It was a 9x9 circle which was 17 blocks high. I worked on my house, putting up the other turret and some decorations up until day 90. I thought that it was about time to knock the final thing off my to-do list. Get full netherite armor. I hopped through the portal and began digging down. I randomly came across a bastion, and this time there was no turning away. I fought it, and with a little bit of help from Karme, of course, we searched some of the chests and found it. Pig Step. This was surprisingly an easy bastion, because nothing tried to eat us. We came out of the bastion on day 91. I began making a tunnel down to Y15. I mined for 3 days and didn't have great results, so on day 94 I came out of the mines and went over to the homeless shelter. I went there to farm Toxemic Berry sheep for wool. I had thought of a more efficient netherite mining method. This brought me to day 96 when I walked out of the netherite mine with 10 pieces of ancient debris. I smelted it and made 2 ingots. I placed my diamond armor into the smithing table and it came out black. The purple achievement popped up and I had done it. I had full netherite. I was so happy. I worked on my house for the rest of the day with my new shiny armor. Karme also had a list and he wanted full netherite as well, so with the rest of my wool I made some beds and Karme and I went back down there while Megrezi and Toxemic Berry built on their houses. With both of us searching, it didn't take us long to get him full netherite. It only took a day and a half and he had all the ancient debris he could ever need. We came out of the netherite mine on day 98, excited that 100 days might be over with 0 deaths between the 4 of us. While Karme and I formed his new gear, I began making a big 100 over the ice boat track. This would be a monument. If we made it to 200 days, a huge 200 days would be put over the 100, then 300, and you get the idea. This took me all day, but once it was done, it looked really good. I put gold in the corners, I put stone bricks, because we were poor. The second last day, I spent the whole day gathering gunpowder to give to Toxemic Berry because we wanted one thing before we went off, a fireworks show on the big day. I worked on my house for a little bit, and when it turned night, we all went to sleep for the last time in this video. Day 100! It was finally here! We were so excited because there was only one more thing to do. Fireworks! Toxic Berry set them off and, yeah, they weren't the greatest, but that didn't let us dampen our spirits, and we logged off for the last time in months. We did it! 100 days! This has taken us months to create, and I mean months. We have died in worlds hundreds of times because there is 4 of us, and that means that we are 4 times more likely to die. But this has been so much fun to create. If you want to see 200 days, please put it down in the comments below, and please do subscribe, because we have put a lot of effort into these videos, and I really just want to make someone's day better. Anyone's day better. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and yeah, bye.